Hey guys, it's Ali from European Coffee Trip, and in this video we'll take brewing coffee with the AeroPress to the next level. We'll prove that the AeroPress is easily the most versatile coffee brewer on the planet. We will use it to brew 9 different styles of coffee, from 40 milliliters in espresso to a big batch of black coffee. Cold or hot, brewed in 1 minute or 12 hours. You can do it all, and I don't think anybody tried all the methods. So, check it out. We will use the same coffee for all methods. It's coffee roasted by our friends at Rebel Bean in Brno. It's a limited edition of coffee from Peru, produced by Elvis Tineo Rafael. If possible, we will use 14 grams of coffee, which is more or less the AeroPress scoop. But as you know, it's better to use scales. What will vary though is the grind size, the amount of water and its temperature, and also the brew time. So let's start with the original AeroPress recipe. When Alan Adler invented the AeroPress, he wanted to have a cheap coffee maker that can produce espresso style coffee in less than a minute. So here is how you do it. We'll use 14 grams of coffee, grind it fine, close to espresso grind size. That is around 8 clicks on Comandante grinder. And add 50 to 60 grams of water that you can actually finish pouring at the Mark 1. It's recommended to use around 85 degrees Celsius water, but I think you will be fine with water around 90 or more. Then you stir it for 10 to 15 seconds and press gently. Overall, it shouldn't take you more than a minute. It's really a quick brew, and you get about 40 grams or milliliters in your cup. Now, you can drink it as it is, or you can dilute it with hot water to your taste. That's similar to ordering Americano in the coffee shop. Or you can actually add milk. And if you want to learn how to steam milk and make latte art, we make a video about it too. This way you can make also double or triple shot. Just multiply the serving and adjust the grind size to your taste. If you want to add more pressure to your brewing, you can buy the Prisma attachment from Fellow, and this way you can experiment even more with the AeroPress espressos at home. Last year we made a video about brewing with the room temperature water. It's presented as a cold brew coffee, but really it's rather a cold extracted coffee that you can actually brew also in 1 minute. The reactions were surprisingly positive. Many of our friends reported amazing results for slightly older coffee beans, but the main benefit is actually the temperature of the water. You don't need to use hot water at all. So here's how you do it. You will use 14 grams of coffee, grind it fine, close to espresso grind size. This time we go even finer with 6 clicks on a Comandante grinder. You add 50 to 60 grams of room temperature water, that is usually around 20 degrees Celsius. Now, you will stir for about 30 seconds. The additional agitation will help extract coffee even more at a lower temperature. Then you press gently. It should take a little over 1 minute. When the specialty coffee community get their hands on the AeroPress, they didn't think the best way to brew is with bypass or dilution. They prefer to brew a full cup, 200 milliliters or 250 milliliters. And one of the first recipes in Europe was developed at Tim Wendelboe's cafe in Oslo. It goes like this. You will use 14 grams of coffee, medium grind size. We use around 16 clicks on Comandante grinder. You add 200 grams of 93 degrees Celsius water. Quickly stir it and add the plunger to stop dripping. At around 1 minute, You take out the plunger, stir it again and press it gently. Overall, it should take you around 90 seconds. If too much water passes the coffee before you start pressing, you should check these things. Number 1, if the coffee bed is level and water don't run through the filter without saturating coffee. Number 2, if you inserted the plunger properly so the vacuum is created to stop dripping. Or number 3, if your grind size isn't too coarse. Still, some people wanted to have a better control over the brewing, so the inverted method was created. By not placing the AeroPress on the cup directly, you have a total control over all brewing variables. The funny thing is that many people, including myself, learned this method as the first one. Here is how to do it. You will place the AeroPress into the inverted position. You will add 14 grams of coffee, medium grind size. We use around 16 clicks on the Comandante grinder. You add 200 grams of 93 degrees Celsius water and wait until 1 minute. In the meantime, you rinse the paper filter and close the AeroPress with a cap. Then you exceed the additional air, and in 1 minute, you carefully rotate the AeroPress on the cup and press. Once again, total brew time should be around 90 seconds. The benefit of this method is that you can use any grind size and the steeping and pressing phases are strictly separated, similar to brewing with the clever dripper, for instance. A tricky part is turning the AeroPress. Many of us had funny and maybe less funny accidents, but you will quickly learn the movement, and if you are careful, there is no danger. If you fancy cold coffee but you don't want to wait several hours, here is what you can do. You make a stronger brew and you press it over ice. It will almost instantly melt, so you can drink freshly brewed but cold coffee immediately. AeroPress is in the inverted position. We will add 14 grams of coffee, slightly finer grind than in the previous method. We'll use around 12 clicks on the Comandante grinder. Because we will use only 50% of water for extraction. It will be 100 grams of water. We'll let it steep for 1 minute. In the meantime, we'll add about 100 grams of ice cubes and then rotate the AeroPress and press it over the ice. Total brewing time should be around 90 seconds. And all ice cubes should melt quickly after you press out all coffee. Another way to make cold coffee with the AeroPress is to use cold or room temperature water, coarse grind size, and letting it steep for a long period of time. Usually it's 8 to 12 hours, but basically it's overnight. We'll add 14 grams of coffee, coarse grind size, about 30 clicks on the Comandante grinder. And we will add 200 grams of room temperature water. Then we will put it into the fridge for over 12 hours. Then just press it over the filter to separate the coffee slurry. If you need to brew more coffee, you can steep coffee and water in bigger jar and then use the AeroPress as a filtration tool when the extraction is over. Usually, cold brew coffee has less acidity and bitterness, but more body and caffeine, so be careful. The last cold coffee method that you can also do with the AeroPress is called cold drip. Contrary to the cold brew method, coffee is not immersed in water for a long period of time, but cold water is dripping through the coffee bed and slowly extracts coffee, one drop at a time. Usually, you need to have a big and expensive stations to do cold drip, but thanks to attachments like Pak or do-it-yourself dripping stations, you can do it relatively easily with the AeroPress. We made a full video about it, but here are the basics. You will use 19 grams of coffee, medium grind size, that's about 20 clicks on the Comandante grinder, add it to the AeroPress chamber and attach the Pak in the closed position. Add 50 grams of ice and 200 grams of water. It can be also just 250 grams of cold water. And set up the drip rate to 20 drops per minute. So the resulting brew time is between 2.5 and 3 hours. When we talk about the inverted method, one advantage was that you can easily modify variables like grind size and brew time. And this way, you can mimic long immersive brewing styles like cupping or French press. So this is how you can do it. The AeroPress is in the inverted position. We'll add 14 grams of coffee, coarse grind size. That's about 30 clicks on the Comandante grinder. And we will add 200 grams of 93 degrees Celsius water. We'll let it steep for about 4 minutes. And then we'll mix it with the spoon and let it wait another 4 minutes. In about 8 minutes total, we add the cap with the filter and press all the coffee out. We get an intense, bold cup of coffee that is much cleaner than with the French press. That's because of the paper filtration. Also, it's much easier to clean it. One of the most common complaints about the AeroPress is that you can brew only 1 cup of coffee. And that is not true anymore. Our friend Asser of the Coffee Chronicler blog came up with a solution how you can brew a bigger batches without the dilution. And I don't think many of you tried this method before, so let's take a look. You will use 23 grams of coffee, fine grind size, that's 14 clicks on the Comandante grinder, and add a total of 350 grams of 93 degrees Celsius water, poured in 2 steps, 175 grams each. In the first stage, you add about 50 grams and stir or swirl it for a few seconds. Then add the remaining water. Now comes the tricky part. You need to push out water without sucking in the coffee ground. You do it by plunging only about 1 centimeter in a rotation movement. Then you remove the plunger gently at the angle. You repeat it until there is no water. Then you pour the remaining 175 milliliters of water. Actually, that's the inner part of the plunger that contains exactly that amount of water. And you wait for 60 seconds before pressing all the way through. Thank you guys for watching. We hope that you enjoyed this video, and let us know in the comments what technique, what method did you try and which one was the most surprising for you, because even for us when making this video we were so surprised and excited to see so many different ways how AeroPress can be used, and we believe that we convince you that the AeroPress is probably the most versatile coffee brewer on the planet. So thank you again, subscribe our channel, and I will see you in the next video, hopefully very soon. Bye bye.